ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That wasn't a very long break at all, but these guys are... Whoa, this is not at the right speed. Yeah, that's on normal speed. I don't know why I'm able to change it, but I can, and I did. How did that happen? What kind of game is this? What just happened? How can you change the game speed in-game when it's a multiplayer? Am I a referee or something? What happened? Well, either way, that means we don't have to remake, so that's always a good thing. That is confusing. Down here in the bottom left, we've got our teal Protoss player. This is indeed a Nexus. He is SlayerSArthur. I must be a god or something. I can change game speed in a multiplayer game. Unbelievable. Now up here to the top left. See, I'm an observer. I'm not a referee. I don't have any ref skills, man. I'm just an observer. But up here to the top left, we've got our green Terran. Couple of all-ins, couple of very different all-ins too, which is cool. We've got our green Terran, Zerzhinsky. So a nice quick probe scout there from Arthur. Does manage to get into his opponent's base, and he does... Oh, he gets an SCV kill for one, but also does manage to spot that his opponent is not taking any gas for the first time in this best-of-3 series, and the probe even manages to sneak right on out. So it looks like Zerzhinsky more than likely going to be going for a 1-Rax gases expand. This probe here still trying to do some damage if it can. Back at home, though, SlayerSArthur just getting that gateway assimilator, chrono boosting that Nexus, and it looks like I'm going to assume he's going to go for a 1-gate expand here. He saw his opponent not taking any gas, and that's pretty indicative here, and indicative of a 1-Rax expand. And as I say that, though, we do have a gas going down here for Zerzhinsky. So what this might end up being is something more akin to maybe a Reaper play, or perhaps a Marauder play, some kind of 3-Rax, something like that. Maybe a 2-Rax style of pressure here. He's going to get a couple of Marines out first, then he's going to start having enough gas to throw down a reactor, and he's also going to start maybe building another barracks. He is actually throwing a bunker down. The probe is in a really sneaky location, though. Going to allow him to spot for that command center, which is pretty cool. Meanwhile, though, Arthur, he doesn't believe a word of what Zerzhinsky is doing. He's going for those 2 gases here. He's going to go for some 1-base play, at least early on. And the SCV there of Zerzhinsky does pick that out. So Zerzhinsky here grabbing that gas. He hasn't actually built a reactor, so it looks like he's really going to be sticking to factory play. He's just getting 100 gas now, so we'll have to keep an eye. And there it is, the factory going down in the top right, takes the second refinery. So this is just going to be some kind of late Banshee, probably with Cloak here, aggression coming from Zerzhinsky, and he might follow it up with a 1-1-1. Entombed Valley, really strong map for such a play, that 1-1-1, just because you've got this like narrow ramp, which makes it really difficult for the Protoss player to push down and actually attack into those siege tanks. And not only that, but with siege tanks here, you're actually covering your opponent's ramp, so he's kind of forced to like warp in behind here at his Nexus, or he's forced to try to shuffle down his ramp, and it's just a really uncomfortable position there for the Protoss player. Force field does go down, keeps the SCV out of there, and fortunately no scout for Zerzhinsky into the main, but he does spot that his opponent has not actually taken any Nexus. So 3 gates and a robotics facility here for Arthur. He's being super duper safe. Meanwhile, there we go, his opponent getting that starport up, likely going to see a tech lab started soon, and there it is. He's also got a command center on the way, though, so this is actually looking a little bit like his build on TPW Odyssey, his Thor Banshee all-in. This is a little bit similar to that, and I'm wondering if he's going to try it again. It worked once, might work again. Stalker just doing a little bit of a run around there, trying to see if there's any SCVs doing any scouting, but he mostly actually just tried to look up that ramp here as we can see, saw that bunker full of units, but he didn't really get to see anything else. He did lose a lot of HP though, and though I missed it, I can assume he checked to see if there was a command center on the low ground, and he did see that there wasn't one. So we see him now set up to actually defend against a variety of things. He's got Stalker and 2 sentries at the ramp to defend against any kind of bio or Hellion style of pressure. He's got Stalkers over here on the left-hand side with an observer to deal with any kind of Banshee or Medevac style of pressure. So nice little setup here for Arthur while he also tries to get that Nexus up and going. There's a tech lab going up for Dzerzhinsky, and there's the armory, so it looks like we will indeed once again see that Thor Banshee play here coming from Dzerzhinsky, and it is a really powerful play once again. But hopefully this time around, Arthur is going to know how to deal with it. Again, it's an old all-in, and you can deal with it really nicely with just some Immortals and some High Templars with that Storm ability. But you need to know to get those, and I don't know if Arthur does know exactly what composition he wants. SlayerSArthur is a bit of a newer player. He really started becoming a solid player around April and May. I remember him playing in the EWM, doing quite well. He is going to go for a little bit of a pressure here. He is sending his Immortal out across the map, and he only does have 1 Immortal. He did deflect that Banshee nicely there with his Observer and Stalker, so that's going to have to pull back, and here he goes, moving right up that ramp, and there's just not enough units here for Dzerzhinsky, so the supply depot is going to have to get canceled. The bunker goes down, and even this high ground here could be under a little bit of trouble, because as the observer here makes its way across the map, we see it arriving right there for Arthur. He's actually going to have some high ground vision, and he might be able to start picking away at these supply depots at the very least. So here he goes. He's got that high ground vision. The Banshee does come forward, but of course Banshees and Stalkers have the same range, and oh no! Bad control on that Banshee there. I don't think he noticed that it went forward and engaged. Now another Banshee here going to come forward. It's actually going to take down a probe, but Pylon does go down first. Nice pick off on that 1 weakened Stalker, but now all the supply depots are going down. However, the Banshees did focus fire the sentries of Arthur, so it kind of makes it impossible for him to push up that ramp without the option of force fielding the bunker. Now these refineries will go down, and this is actually a really huge move for Arthur. Instead of getting the unit composition he needed to defend against the all-in, he got the unit composition he needed to slow down his opponent's all-in. He slowed down this expansion. He slowed down all that extra gas that Dzerzhinsky desperately needed to be able to afford building Thors and Banshees. Thors, 200 gas a pop. Banshees, 100. I thought it was 150, but it is 100 gas a pop as well. So that's really expensive mineral to gas ratio for both of those units. It's 66% minerals and 33% gas? No, it's 3 and 5, so it's 60%. 60-40 split. There you go. I'm not terrible at math, but obviously not great at it either. Now we do have, of course, Dzerzhinsky still set up here to defend, but he is having a hard time getting out those Thors, getting out the Raven that he needs for that point defense drone. So what he's done is he's actually used all those extra minerals he had, since he didn't have enough gas to build Thors, Banshees, Ravens, into a command center. It looks like he might try to double expand here as he gets enough units out. However, his opponent is getting out a lot more Immortals this time around, adding on those extra gateways, getting +1 attack as well. And he also did get Blink. So these Stalkers are just running around trying to kill off those Banshees, and he did get the other Banshee as well. No Banshees on the field right now for Dzerzhinsky. And this is just such a cool way of dealing with that Thor Banshee all in. And these Stalkers here, they do have Blink, so they can start blinking back. They're just trying to be as annoying as possible. But a lot of the time, it's like late game ZVP, let's say, whether it's the Protoss or the Zerg, both of the army compositions, whether it's Broodlord, Corruptor, Infestor, or like Mothership, Carrier, Archon, High Templar, like those are just almost unbeatable compositions. And it's like, how do you beat that? Well, oftentimes the answer can just be, don't let them get to that. The transition into carriers is a long and slow one. Same thing with the transition into Broodlords. And, of course, people use things like cannons, spine crawlers, warp prisms for counterattacks to buy that time. But there are moves that you can do here, like we just saw Arthur do, despite the bunkers in position, despite the Thor starting to pop out, and even with the Banshees counter-attacking, he still found a way to attack his opponent and just stop this all in before it even really got underway. Now, finally, with his extra base up and running, we do see Dzerzhinsky here. Whoa, did he actually lose that tech lab? He did! Oh, that was such a cool move. When Arthur blinked in here, he sniped the tech lab, delaying, of course, by another 25 seconds minimum what his opponent could build Thors there. And meanwhile, the third command center did get flown all the way to the right-hand side here, so that's kind of cute. But here come the Immortals now. He's got 5 of them total, and with that +1 attack upgrade, these guys are going to rip through buildings, bunkers, and Thors. And of course, the Banshee count already got cleared up. There's not a single Banshee, so he doesn't have to worry about losing too many Stalkers. Now, we do see the point defense drone is there, soaking up a lot of damage, but here comes the Immortals, and man, that bunker just goes down immediately. The SCVs are trying to repair these Thors, but if there's some decent focus fire here from Arthur, he should be able to kill those Thors way faster than the SCVs can repair them. Look at those Thors just going down so fast, and that's going to be it. 140 supply for Arthur. Dzerzhinsky, sub 50 supply. The last Thors go down. The Raven bites it, and Dzerzhinsky gives the good game. Well played. Nice series here between these two players. It was really fun to watch. Definitely some different builds and some different options on how to deal with these different builds were displayed. And for me, that made it really exciting and fun to watch. It's kind of like, not a free-for-all, but rather like an improv of StarCraft 2, right? Arthur, game 1, he sees this Thor Banshee build, and he's like, okay, we'll go into Colossus, and we're gonna try to get some Blink Stalkers, and that didn't work. And then in game 3, we saw him try something completely different that obviously, as we just saw, was way more effective. And even in game 2, we saw Arthur, he was gonna go for was it a Blink Stalker all-in, or was it an Immortal push? Or no, it was a 3-gate Stalker rush. It was like same timing as a 4-gate, but 3-gate, only Stalkers getting warped in rush. And then his opponent scouts his pylon, so then he transitions into a robotics facility. But his opponent's coming at him with Hellions and Marauders, and then he's got to evacuate his Nexus, and it's just 2, or rather 3 games where build orders were just changed and adapted, and to me that's like the funnest thing about StarCraft 2. You can really appreciate a straight up build order, but someone who's able to adapt like that, to me, is one of the most impressive things, to not know exactly, okay, I'm getting the Robo at 40 supply or whatever, and to just be able to deal with what your opponent is throwing at you. So some great games there, guys. Your winner is SlayerSArthur, and of course Dzerzhinsky coming in a close second there, making it a 3-game series. Thanks a lot for watching. This has been the Clarity Gaming Weekly Cup Masters and Grandmasters Division. And we'll, of course, be back next week on Monday once again. So tune in then on this channel at 7 p.m. when the action will begin. I'm Katu, and thanks for watching. Make sure you follow Team Clarity, Clarity Gaming on Twitter. Cheers.